So this is the UX305LA, ASUS UX305LA with Intel Core i7 5500U inside, so a big upgrade from the Core M of the last version. This one here has got 8 gigs of RAM and the 256 gig SSD. Euro price was 1,100 euros just before we did this video, and actually represents pretty good value for money. Let's just take a look around the device, and we'll give you some performance scores, and then of course at the end the notebook check overall score. The first thing to tell you about is the screen. This is a full HD, 1920 by 1080, so it's a 16:9 aspect ratio. And have a look, it's actually got a matte covering to it, so this is not a glossy display. And if we can try and get some light reflection, you'll see that's scattering the light quite nicely. Now, some people actually say that light scatter is worse than having a point light on a glossy screen, because you can actually tune out a point light easier than you can a scattered light. Well, I think in general situations where you've got this sort of setup, something in the corner there, that lamp is not really disturbing, it's actually scattered so well that you can actually continue to use the screen there. Brightness values, which we're putting on the screen now, pretty good. Viewing angles, obviously pretty good there, and the color values as well, pretty good. On the keyboard, we've got a pretty good all-round keyboard here. In fact, it's got a really nice feel to it, and it's a really nice big trackpad there. The only thing that we didn't like about this, and we'll give it a negative point, is there's no backlight on this. For a device of 1,100 euros, you'd expect a backlight on the keyboard there. And no, that little light is not the backlight. That's actually for switching the light sensor on and off for the screen. So what about the port setup on this Ultrabook? Well, 2 USB ports on the side here. One of these is super speed, so USB 3, the other USB 2, and nice to see, a full-size SD card slot. Now, SD card slots, obviously, the micro SD cards, you can actually leave them inside, and if I just grab a proper SD card here, you'll see that it doesn't go all the way inside there. So that's one of the disadvantages of a full SD card. The advantage, of course, is you can just take that straight out of your camera and pop it in there and copy off videos and photos. On the other side, we've got power. We've got another USB 3 port, so that's 3 USB ports we've got there, and a micro HDMI port. There's the headset port there, and a light for the power button. Power on button is actually there, and that's got a little light on it to tell you when it's on or off. So we've got a really nice casing here. This is a 1.3 kilogram device, very Ultrabook style, clean all round. And if you look on the back there, you can see that's air input there. And then if I just open that up and turn that around, and you look in here, that's where the air comes out. That's the exhaust area there. So obviously this is not a passively cooled device. Because of the Core i7 in here, there is a fan, although in general it's pretty quiet. In fact, most of the time it's actually silent. Now I'm going to quickly run through some performance scores here for you. Cinebench R15 multi CPU. We've got a CPU score of 296 points, and that's nearly 100% faster than the previous 305 with the 5Y10 in it, the Core M of the Haswell generation. And if we go down to the Apple MacBook Air 13-inch, that's also scoring 296 points. So this is as powerful as the Apple MacBook Air in the Cinebench R15 multi CPU test. So on a PC Mark 8 score, we saw, using the Home Score Accelerated V2 score, 3167 points, 37% faster than the old ZenBook UX305-LA, and just under the Apple MacBook Air 13-inch from March 2015, which scored 3579 points. The SSD in this, a Micron M600, sorry, really fast, and we got a sequential read speed of over 500 megabytes per second. 4K write speed, 116.7 megabytes a second, which is an incredible score for 4K write. 4K read speed 31.79. On our 3D Mark 11 test, we got 1,198 points, which is 81% faster than the previous UX305LA with the HD graphics 5300, and then if we go down to the MacBook Air 13, that actually comes out at 1459 points, which is 22% faster than this ZenBook's UX305LA. So despite this having a Core i7 inside, the loudness of the fan was pretty good actually. We measured 39.3 dB as a peak, which is quite acceptable to be honest under load. So really no worries about that. That fan is really bringing you more power than it is noise. It looks like it's worth having that in there. Very quickly, there's the heat diagram. You can see 45.9, 45 degrees underneath, in the middle at the back. That's obviously where the exhaust is, but that shouldn't affect too much in terms of usability. That really is under load, under idle. Everything is very cool indeed. Now let's get on to one of the highlights of the UX305, and that's the battery. They've actually managed to squeeze in 56 watt-hours of battery in here, which is pretty incredible for a 1.3 kilogram 13.3 inch Ultrabook. We got surfing over Wi-Fi at 150 nits over 9.5 hours. 9 hours 29 minutes was our test result. That was using Internet Explorer 11. We ran Big Buck Bunny video, 1080p, again 150 nits, 9 hours 42, so really excellent scores. Under load, so really putting this under load, that was with full brightness, we got 1 hour 48 minutes. So you can, if you really push this device, drain the battery very quickly, but in general, I think for general use, that 9 to 9.5 hour figure, even up to 10 hours if you put the brightness down. If you're, for example, writing in an aircraft scenario where you're not using Wi-Fi and where the brightness is down, you're going to get over 10 hours out of that, no problem at all. So here's our pros and cons with the ASUS ZenBook UX305 with the Core i7. Great brightness, good contrast, matte screen there, very stable, high quality casing. The keyboard and mouse, very good quality again there. Great battery life time. We found it worked fairly quietly, didn't get hot, fast SSD, and the only negative point we really want to pull out on this is the lack of backlight on the keyboard. Yes, maybe the cameras could be improved as well. They weren't that good. But probably good enough for Skyping. We gave the camera 47% score, which isn't that good. So the overall score here from notebookcheck.net is 87%. That's a very good value, and it represents a great improvement over the previous UX305, which itself was actually quite a good Ultrabook. 87% then for the UX305 with the Core i7 Broadwell generation CPU inside.